This is what the narcissist wanted you thinking. Think about that for a minute. Everyone, if you like the content, please like, subscribe, and share. So when you first met the narcissist, throughout the relationship and afterwards, this person wanted you thinking certain things about them, about you, about the two of you, about what you would do, what you didn't do, what you should have done, and what else you could do in the future. You're now learning something that very few people will ever learn. You're learning about toxicity, you're learning about empathy, you're learning about mindset, you're learning about narcissism, and above all, you're learning about manipulation and actually how strong you are. You see, the narcissist took you for granted. What they did is they infiltrated your life. They insidiously crept into it. They overtook your life. They rocked your foundation. They broke that relationship that you were in with them over and over and over again. And it wasn't just that relationship, it was all of your relationships paid a price when you were in the toxic, narcissistic, abusive cycle. You couldn't see it when you were in it because you didn't know what you know now. You weren't taught this formally, or you didn't have the wisdom or education that another person could look like you, talk like you, walk like you, but yet claim to love you or be in love with you, but turn out to be your worst nightmare, your enemy, a person who was trying to destroy you from the inside out. Now you're understanding these things. These are all difficult pills to swallow, but in time, in your time, as you heal, you will understand that what I'm sharing with you is completely accurate, and it is what is called, or what is known as, the healing path. The healing path is not linear. It will take time. It will take a lot of time, but in your time you will heal if you utilize the tools that are provided for you with each and every video I create. Now, some of the things I'm about to share with you, what the narcissist wanted you thinking, yeah, it's a little windy here today, are this. When you first met them, they probably sold you a bill of goods. They most likely studied you. They learned about you. They wanted to figure out what your hopes were, your dreams, your aspirations, your goals. They learned about your educational level, your former romantic relationships, where you wanted to go in life, what you wanted to do, what you wanted to be a part of, what you wanted to create, and where you wanted to end up in life. Meaning maybe you wanted to have that white picket fence in the beach home and watch the grandkids get raised, etc. Well, once you told this person, the toxic person, that, they now had a roadmap on how to abuse you, because this wasn't their first rodeo. You weren't the first person's life they blew up. You weren't the first person's life they infiltrated and started working on you diabolically, sinisterically, very, very sinister, and they tried to blame you and doubt you. And this is why when you're in these relationships, you lose your identity to the narcissist. You become a shell of yourself. You become an extension of them. You become what I call the unpaid helper, the walking apology, the person who regulates them, because the narcissist cannot self-regulate themselves, and that's becoming a buzzword all over the interwebs. Well, this is what happens when you create videos for 5+ years about being the person who regulated the narcissist. You see, the subconscious of me and of yourself is now bubbling up to create other people who are getting the wisdom. It's not just me. Many people have been in the cycle. Many people are finding their voice. Many people realize that they were the person who regulated the toxic person, because the toxic person can't do that for themselves. But having said all these things, you're now knowing something that very few people will know, but yet they will claim that they know. Very few people have gone through the cycle and made it out in one piece. Very few people have gone through the cycle, maybe even experienced the dark night of the soul, maybe even came close with a whisker or a brush or a sliver of not being on the planet. Yours truly was one of those people, but I did make it out, and I am here, which is why I create videos and pay it forward each and every day. But what the narcissist wanted you thinking when you were in the relationship, they wanted you thinking that everything was your fault, that you weren't doing enough. You weren't doing what you were supposed to be doing. Think about this. When you were with this person, could they sit still? No, they couldn't. Were they in competition with you? Yes, they were. Did you know you were in a competition with somebody that you perhaps fell in love with or married? Absolutely not. Did you realize that the person you're considering right now actually had disdain for you, that they were jealous of you and they were envious of you? And maybe at a point they tried to be you, mimic you, copy you, and steal everything from you, but they couldn't extinguish you. See what I'm saying? These people are shapeshifters. They're dark energy sources that slither all throughout the life of you and all throughout the planet. And these dark energy sources will continue to approach you in different shapes, sizes, ethnicities. They'll have different intellectual levels. They will speak different languages, if I didn't say that. Until when? Until you finally get the message and go no contact and block that person, delete them, remove them and all flying monkeys and people associated with them. If not now, when? Now, if you can't do that today, I get it. Utilize gray rock, become dull and boring. Don't overshare information with anybody who doesn't need to know what you know. Don't share your plans. Don't share your hopes, dreams, aspirations. And if you're stuck in the trapped in the cycle and you're looking to get out, you're going to have to create, develop, and execute your exit plan when you are ready. Not when someone else tells you, when you're ready. And you will know when that time is. Maybe it's when the kids graduate university. Maybe it's when you finally get divorced. Maybe it's when you finally build up enough money to escape. I can't tell you when, but you will know. You need to begin to trust your instincts, trust your intuition, and pay attention to red flags. The further you get away from the toxic person, the fewer red flags you will see. The sooner you get away from the toxic person, the more your energy will return. The more your energy returns, the more clearer your mind gets. The clearer your mind gets, the more you realize that what the narcissist wanted you thinking was that you would never be good enough, that so many other people were better than you and that were more intelligent or were earning more money or better looking or had better upbringings, etc. Think about this. Let's say that your professional occupation, let's say as an example, let's say that you were a doctor. And let's say that you had the answer to the narcissist and maybe you married them, or maybe it was a romantic relationship, or maybe it was your mom or dad or sister or brother, whoever. But let's say that you gave them some ideas. Hey, I think that you have this. Maybe you should take these meds or something. I'm not saying prescribing meds. I'm saying because you went to med school, and this is an example, that you know the medical system. And you could give free advice or free counsel to somebody. And no, I'm not a doctor. And no, I don't play one on TV. Having said that, what would the narcissist do? They would say, no, you don't know what you're talking about. And you would be saying, no, I went to med school for 8 years, 10, 12 years. I know exactly what I'm talking about. This is what I do for a living. And they will look at you and not take your advice. Well, what would they do the very next day? They would say, oh, I'm taking these meds. And you're like, that's great. You took my advice, right? And they'd be like, no, you didn't come up with that idea. It was the barista at the coffee shop. They told me to do that. See, what they're doing is they're twisting the knife in you. They don't want you believing in yourself. They want you questioning yourself. They want to steal your energy. They want to steal your mindset. They don't want you to believe in yourself at all. So this is just one of the things the narcissist wanted you thinking. Another, I'll go back in time when you first met the person. They probably were future faking you. Maybe it was a business partner that took your money or stole your idea or took your website, whatever it was. Well, what happened there? They learned from you. You were an open book because you didn't know what narcissism was. You shared with them your business plan or business idea. They got really close, they learned, they observed, they studied, they took mental notes while you were doing all the work in front of the scenes and definitely behind the scenes. And then when it came to sign the contract, you two signed on the dotted line, and what they brought to the table, I can't tell you, probably nothing but the illusion of what would never be. You sign on the dotted line, next thing you know, tomorrow the business begins and you find out that that person is AWOL, they're nowhere to be found. And you're blowing up their phone because you're confused. You're like, hey, well, you said you were going to do this. What about the store? What about the business? What about the connections? What about the marketing? You said you're going to do all these things. And they claimed that they were sick or they couldn't do it or that's not what they agreed to. Fast forward a couple weeks, now you're invested in business with this parasite. What happens? Well, you end up doing 98% of the work. They're doing 2%, but they're collecting 50% of the money. Fast forward a year or two, you get burned out. You don't want to continue to be in the partnership with the person, but you still don't know what narcissism is. You say, I want to dissolve this. I want to sell it. I can't do this any longer. My health is taking a hit and I'm not making the money I want to, or you're not doing your work, whatever you would tell them. And they would say, that sounds great. Let's split the assets. Let's divide the business. I'll tell you what, I did A, B, and C. I did A through X and you did Z. So I'll take 80% of the company, you take 20 and we'll call it a day. And you would be saying, wait a minute, I did 95% of it. It was my idea. It was my baby. I did everything. I'm not giving you 80% of the company. You didn't even do anything. You don't even deserve 10%. And they would say, well, that's not what the paper says. The paper says that I'm entitled to 50. And if you want to get out of this, you better cough up 80. See, this is what they do. They blackmail people. They blackmail them financially, emotionally, physically at times, definitely spiritually, any way they possibly can. That's why you need to cut the 4 ties from this toxic person. And the 4 ties are the emotional tie, the financial tie, the physical tie, and the spiritual tie. And the sooner you cut them, the better off you will be. The better off you are, the weaker they get. The weaker they get, the more they have to slither off onto a new source of supply, which won't be you. But unfortunately, narcissism is still on the planet, and it will be for the foreseeable future, and it won't be eradicated anytime soon. My hope is that you have gone no contact, and you've conserved your energy, and you have your mindset back, and you understand what it is like to be free of the parasite or the 800-pound gorilla who is strapped on your back, and you've been carrying them for the last 5, 10, 20, 30 years. When you remove this person from your life, you will realize what they wanted you to think. They wanted you to think that tomorrow would be better than today. They wanted you thinking that next year would be better than this year. They wanted you thinking that perhaps, yes, we could take the vacation in the spot that you wanted to go to, but not this year. Let's just go to where I want to go. And then you would say, again, for the 17th year in a row, we're going where you want to go. And you say, okay, well, whatever. It's just easier to be quiet and go where they want to go. So I don't have to deal with, oh, their silent treatment or them gaslighting me or disappearing for the week-long vacation or 2 weeks, whatever it was. And then what happens? Next year, it's your turn to pick the vacation. So now, the last 18 years in a row, you went where the narcissist wanted you to go. And you say, hey, it's my turn, I'm gonna do it. And they're like, no, I think we should go here. See, they control you. They want you thinking that in the future, things will improve. They never improve. With the narcissist, things only deteriorate. They only get worse over time. There is no such thing as improvement in a narcissistic relationship. It never grows, it never flourishes. There's no commitment, there's no togetherness, there's no transparency on the behalf of the narcissist. What you have is the abuser, a manipulator, and a taker, and that's the narcissist. And what you have on the other side is a person who is committed, who is honest, who's empathetic, who's kind, who's loving, and who's committed. And the narcissist knows that. That's why they take whatever they can, and once they get whatever they want, then they usually punish that person for being themselves, and they crumble them up like a sheet of paper, throw them away in the freeway, and believe, this is in the mind of the tiny little narcissist, they believe that person will never make it out, that they won't make it out of the narcissistic fog. They won't break the trauma bond, they won't heal, they won't see behind the mask if I didn't say that, and they won't put themselves back together. That's why you're different than most everybody. You've done those things or you're doing them. Your average person who was in the cycle before you maybe never even figured it out. Maybe they're not with us. Maybe they weren't strong enough to break the ties. Maybe they never were curious enough to figure out what had happened to them. That's why you are different, and you need to embrace yourself and say, oh my gosh, Andrew's right, I am different. That's why I create videos each and every day, to pay it forward to people who may not even know that they need help. At one point, that was me, because I was believing that what the narcissist was selling, once you stop believing in what they were telling you and you cut the ties, then you realize everything you've ever looked for is within you. It's not within another person. It's never been within another person. It's within you, because this is your journey. This is your direction. It's your purpose. And the person you're considering, they tried their best to extinguish you, your purpose, your health, your hobbies, and everything else. Before I close the video, because it'll be a little bit shorter today, I want to share something. What the narcissist wanted you thinking post-relationship, and this is very important, as is the whole video, they wanted you thinking that you would be stuck and that your life would never advance and that you would never have a healthy or stable or loving relationship in the future, and that they would be living in your mind rent-free, and that they, i.e. the narcissist, would be out gallivanting the globe, lathering up the new supply, drinking champagne on yachts and smoking the latest cigar and eating the fancy lobster dinners and doing everything, and you would be stuck. That's what they wanted you thinking. It's exactly what I thought. Well, the truth of the matter is, no. What happens is, wherever the narcissist goes, wherever they slither off to, that person is either getting manipulated or being manipulated, any way you look at it. I've shared this over the years. The new supply is either a new source of supply, which is a clean slate, somebody like you were. They are a recycled source of supply, someone who hasn't figured out what narcissism is, or they're a toxic apex predator, just like the narcissist, maybe even worse. But don't think for a minute that the narrative that the narcissist painted in your mind post-relationship is legitimate. It's not. You are already doing better without the narcissist. Your energy is returning. Your health is returning. Your mindset is getting clearer. The clarity is returning. You're cutting the ties, and you're realizing that, yes, in fact, tomorrow the sun will rise again. And you're realizing that, yes, this person did damage to you, and you will have to heal from the relationship, because this is the relationship you'll need to heal from. Other things you're realizing is that all of the toxicity, all the verbal abuse, all the seeds that were planted in your mind on the behalf of the narcissist, they were taking root, but they're not any longer. And the reason why they're not is because you are now on the journey. You are now perhaps in the darkness, in the light, in the tunnel, which is dark, and you're looking for the little ray of sunshine or light at the end of the tunnel. I can say this because that's where I was. The more you stay on the journey and focus on yourself, control what you can control, and continue to go through this, meaning it's the relationship you need to heal from. Nobody can do it for you. So the more you focus on yourself, you journal, you meditate, you see a therapist who knows what they're talking about, you heal childhood wounds, you have a small footprint, you stay in the cocoon of boundaries and really process things and slow your life down. The more you do these things now, the less you will have to do in the future, and the more you will see what the narcissist wanted you thinking. The narcissist wanted you thinking that they were the love of your life, that you would never find anybody even close to they were. You would never put yourself back together, that you would be stuck while they were out on the yachts and the fancy boats and the ski trips and all that, and living their best life and taking pictures and selfies up with using 50 different filters, posting all over social media. Well, the truth of the matter is this: once you get the toxicity out of your life, everything changes. Does it change overnight? No. Does it change in a day? No. Does it change over time? Absolutely it does. That's why the healing path is not linear. It will take time. It will take a lot of time, but in your time you will heal. You've heard me say that exact tagline that I came up with 4.5 years ago over and over again, because the more content you watch that is adding value to your life, and that's what I do every single day, the more you will realize, with the repetition of words that I've been using for almost 5 years, all of my words are from a real life experience of toxicity that is now removed from my energy field forever. That's why I pay it forward. But when you realize all that, that eventually something will click. It will click. And maybe it's clicking for you right now. Maybe it'll click tonight when you go to bed. Maybe it'll click tomorrow when you're on the freeway going to work. Maybe it'll click over the weekend when you're playing pickleball. Maybe it'll click in a month when you're playing Yahtzee or chess or checkers or something. Maybe it'll click when you're on the ski slopes. Maybe it'll click when you're reading a book, or maybe it'll click when you just got out of the bubble bath, or maybe it's the morning you're pouring your morning cereal. I don't know when. But this is why I repeat my words over and over and over again, because you need to hear the message. Once the student is ready, the teacher will appear. I am a student, and I'm a very good student. I'm a teacher, and I'm an excellent teacher. I am both. That's what you are. And that's why you made it this far in the video, because the narcissist wanted you thinking something different. The narcissist wanted you thinking that you were worthless, you were pathetic, you were weak, you would never ever be anybody. This is all the narcissist talking about themselves. Understand what projection is. Understand what the narcissist did. The narcissist took their best shot at you, and they never thought you would get up off the canvas and put yourself back together, but you've done that. That's why you're here. That's why you continue to come back and acquire the wisdom that I provide for you. That's why, with all the beautiful comments from all over the world, from the people who have healed and who are healing, we, the collective, are getting stronger. And the stronger we get, the weaker the narcissists, plural, get. The weaker they get, the less they have to hide, and the less they can live in your mind rent-free. So before I close the video, understand something. What the narcissist wanted you thinking was everything that they are thinking about themselves. That they are failures because they are, that they're miserable because they are, that they're riddled with anxiety because they are, because they're shallow because they are, because they're wearing a mask because they are, because they're not authentic because they can't be. The narcissist is nothing but a sinking ship. They're nothing but a ticking time bomb, and they did their best to manipulate you, to brainwash you, to twist their narrative, and to have you become really, really itsy bitsy teeny weeny, essentially stealing your identity from you. Again, this is what they do with everybody they encounter in one way, shape, or form. But you are different than everybody. You need to remember that. So I will close the video in a second. I'll just tell you this. What the narcissist wanted you thinking is this, in a nutshell. If you only play this part of the video, play it a few times. The narcissist didn't want you believing in yourself. Say that with me. The narcissist didn't want you believing in yourself. And the reason why that is, it's because the narcissist doesn't believe in themselves. That's why they need fuel sources to manipulate, to do the work for them. Play that part of the video, play it a few times. Once you understand what narcissism is at its core, how it affected you, and how your mindset has shifted, and that you have to or had to heal from it, you will have one of the keys to not only the planet Earth and the universe, but to the ethos. This is something that nobody, and I mean nobody, wanted ever to come to the forefront. But that's exactly what I've been doing for almost 5 years. Raising awareness and helping people out that didn't even know that they needed help. Because at one point, that's who I was. But no longer am I that person. I am the strongest, most galvanized version of myself known to humankind. Because I have risen through the ashes like a phoenix. I have dusted myself off by the bootstraps, and I have put myself back together. And I no longer, now or ever, will believe in the false narrative of any toxic person, which is why I trust my instincts, I trust my intuition, I have boundaries, I maintain them, And I always, and I mean always, pay attention to red flags. But in my life, there's nothing but green flags in abundance. And that's where you will be one day, as long as you continue to see the light at the end of the tunnel and go through that tunnel. So everyone, that's the video. I hope you liked it. I loved doing it from the beautiful Carolinas. This is Andrew. Namaste. Have a great afternoon, evening, or morning. No matter where you are on the planet, you are not alone. I love you all, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Understand something. What the narcissist wanted you thinking, they didn't want you thinking how strong you were, how powerful you were, how intelligent you were, how beautiful you were and are internally and externally. They didn't want you finding your purpose. They didn't want you finding your passion. They didn't want you having direction. They wanted to snuff you out. And again, they had done that with people before they met you, but they didn't, they couldn't, and they can't do it with you. So play this video, play it a few times, continue on the path, and understand that you are getting wiser, you are getting stronger, and you are no longer listening to what the narcissist wanted you believing or thinking. I love you all. Talk to you tomorrow. Bye, everybody. Bye.